The Lib Dem spokesperson, Steve Darling.
Thank you, Chair, and it is a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship. And I'd first of all like to pay tribute to the member for South Cotswold and the stellar speech that she shared with us to launch the debate this evening. And it is the first debate that I've spoken to that has been triggered by a petition. And the fact that this has been driven so swiftly by the force of nature that is WASPI Women is nothing but, one can only acknowledge how excellent campaigners they've been over many years, and their patience has been worn thin, Chair. I would also like to highlight that, as colleagues have already alluded to, that sadly a WASPI woman dies every 13 minutes. During the course of this debate that is set for 3 hours, that means that 14 WASPI women will have sadly died without receiving the compensation that they so richly deserve. In my own constituency of Torbay, there are 6,930 WASPI women who deserve the support that the government could give them. Across the United Kingdom, there are 3.7 million WASPI women. That is more than 500,000 than the population of Wales. So it is an enormous amount of people who could be benefiting from this compensation that they so richly deserve. I'm reflecting to myself, Chair, that many of us are new MPs in the chamber here this evening. And when I got elected, as I'm sure a number of people reflect to themselves, the most important thing that we needed to achieve was rebuilding trust between the public and politicians. Because we see elsewhere in Western Europe and North America what happens when trust is broken and extremists take power. So we must rebuild the trust. We saw what happened under the last government, where many of us stayed at home and did the right thing, and others partied at number 10. And that broken trust needs rebuilding. And this before us today is potentially part of that rebuilding of trust. Colleagues from across the chamber have highlighted many heartbreaking stories this afternoon. The time has flown by as we've heard those from across the United Kingdom. I'd like to particularly highlight the contribution made by the member for Horsham, where he does highlight how the Minister picked on a particular issue that actually held no water at all. And I would hope that the Minister would return to that when reflecting. Pam, in my own constituency, she believed that she was set to retire at a certain age. She spent time supporting a husband who was dying from terminal cancer, supporting a mother who was elderly and frail, and she has been let down, as many women has throughout the United Kingdom. I'd like now, Mr. Chairman, to reflect on the Ombudsman report. And we hear from people who are currently queuing up to say the DWP is broken, it's not fit for purpose. Well, I think that this report highlights that that is the case. Mr. Chairman, I wonder if the Minister could reflect on the quangos that seem to be somewhat out of fashion with the government at the moment. And is this particular Ombudsman one that you will consider actually abolishing? Because if you're choosing to ignore it this easily, what's the point of the Ombudsman? So I hope we can get some reassurances around that. The fact that the Minister stood up in the chamber, Mr. Chairman, and said that she accepts that there was maladministration, she apologises, but she will not give compensation, is bizarre in the extreme. And we need to build that trust again with our communities. I'm very much alive, Mr. Chairman, that WASPI women only this afternoon have lodged paperwork in the High Court for a judicial review on this very issue. And that could take 6 months, it could take 14 months to come to fruition. But why drag this out further? Let us not have the indignity of the government being dragged to the right decision through kicking and screaming, but do the right thing now, Minister. Thank you, Chair.